Hi, Karen. So today we've decided to talk about the symptoms that can arise after spinal flow sessions. Some people aren't really prepared for this. So in your experience, why do people have symptoms? Like why is it actually occurring after spinal flow? What's happening in the body?
Uh, I think it's all to do with the healing or the integration of the healing after the sessions, whether it's chemical release, like the release of toxins that have been stored in there, the stored emotions that might come out. But a lot of different reasons probably. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and I also know that with the work that we're doing, when the body's making changes, it might have been holding in a certain area and holding on for dear life, and the muscles are really holding, and then you might have bones and tendons that starts to move and to change, and things like, when the posture changes, sometimes
Mm.
people will experience symptoms because of that. But also, if there's been some pressure on nerves and that starts to release and change, well, then that can create symptoms, as well as, we're also moving cerebral spinal fluid. So again, when we're getting changes like that in the body, then it's just the body's way of telling us that there's something going on. So I'm always really excited when there's symptoms. Tell me, what sort of symptoms do some of your clients experience, or have you experienced yourself?
Personally, I've experienced a lot of chemical changes. So, feeling nauseous. This is when I first started doing spinal flow, especially at the start. Yeah, I used to experience a lot of nauseous, just feeling, yeah, yuck, really. And I just put that over time as I got to learn and know more about spinal flow and what it actually does and the changes that happen. I put it down to all the years of toxins being stored in my body and the spinal flow sessions releasing that. So yeah, I've personally experienced that. Also the digestive issues, like I used to have really bad digestive issues. I still have diverticulitis, but I've found over the years since I've been receiving as well as giving spinal flow sessions, I've found that my episodes, I suppose, if you want to call them that, yeah, they've lessened. So yeah, that's from my personal experience. They've been the main two things
So
that
it's,
I've
it's like your
noticed.
body,
Yeah.
when it starts to work properly, goes through a bit of a detoxification process. I've noticed
Definitely.
that for
Yeah.
some people as well. So I've had clients walk out of my clinic space and vomit in the garden as well. It's not pleasant, doesn't happen very often, but I certainly celebrate that. Um, yeah, what other detoxification or chemical kind of changes have you noticed in people's bodies?
A lot of my clients have experienced flu-like symptoms, like the like fatigue and the headaches, just feeling run down,
Mm.
basically. And yeah, that's what I've said to them. It's like, yay! And they're like, what? As in beanie. But yeah, as they know now, it's all part of the healing process, just trusting that the body's doing what it knows what to do to
Yeah,
heal them.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. So
Mm.
the
What
flu-like
about you? Have
symptoms.
you? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the flu-like symptoms being like, runny nose. And I sort of look at that sort of stuff as like it's things coming out. So, people getting really sweaty. Yeah, runny nose,
Mm.
phlegmy, like, and kind of coughy, wanting to get something out. Um,
Yeah.
some of my clients, they'll get things like diarrhea, increase passing of urine, stinky breath is one that a
Mm.
client mentioned to
Mm.
me, and I'm like, well, it's all stuff just detoxing out of the system.
Yeah.
Um, oh, tears. and not actually crying emotional tears, just like, kind of sinusy, that sort of thing. Yeah, but not everything feels bad either. We should say that it's not like everything that you experience is necessarily going to feel like that. And for some people it feels really cathartic to actually move that stuff through.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say that was another one that I've noticed too, is when it comes to digestion, like a lot of people have commented on how, they're more regular now
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
starting their spinal flow journey. Yeah, they've just become regular. So that's great. I love that.
Mm.
Yeah. On an emotional level, changes that some of my clients have found is that they're a lot more calmer.
Yeah.
I've got one client in particular, an older man, and he said he just used to lose it, just like that. But since starting his regular spinal flow sessions, like he was coming 3 times a week, he said nothing bothers him now. He's just so much more calmer and just goes with the flow, literally.
Mm.
So yeah, that was really cool. Also having an increased awareness to their body, or a deeper connection to their body, feeling more grounded where, as we know, some people are disconnected, they're living in their heads. Whereas after the spinal flow, yeah, they just feel more connected, mind, body, heart. So yeah, that's a really cool one. What about your clients
Look,
or
I've
you?
definitely know clients that have experienced things like that. I had a client today who just said, I just feel like a better level of acceptance around the way
Mm,
things are. And, I try not to put a story around that for her. But
yeah,
she said it's just like, she feels like she's able to be more present. And it's that whole, what you're saying, when you're disconnected here and you start to connect this head to heart, um, it is easier to become more present. But then I do have other clients, and they might come to me just with feelings of being flat, that for a period of time they may feel, more depression, more anxiety. Um, Lots of people get really teary. That's very, very common, and just get really emotional. I had a client the other day who she said to me, Michaela, I don't cry. I don't cry. And I'm like, righto, that's fine. About 2 minutes in, she was blubbering. She's like, what have you done to me? I'm like, well, clearly you haven't been
yeah. It
crying.
was sitting
So
there.
yeah, so it's just all been stored up. And then she shared with me that night, she said, Michaela, I was ugly crying. I was ugly crying. I'm like, awesome. I'm so excited about that because, she needed stuff to come out. The
That's
other
it.
thing that some of my clients talk about is getting a different perspective on events. Um, you know,
Mm,
things that they have experienced or remember. They say they've got a different perspective. And dreaming is another one. Lots of dreaming
yeah,
for some people. I don't know
yeah.
whether that's,
Realizations.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, really
Mm,
beautiful
mm.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, even during this session, like the amount of people that have visions or realizations or
Yes.
memories from childhood. And,
Yes.
with these people, we're talking like 60, 70 years ago that
Yeah.
they've never thought about in that period of time. And for it to come up during a session and for them to feel safe and comfortable enough to talk about it, it was like, wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Mm,
The visualizations, yeah, things just popping into your head. That's amazing. And then a lot of people also talk about colors, like colors
yeah.
coming, even though they've got their eyes closed, there's colors that come in and out. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so that's pretty cool. What about some of the physical symptoms?
Um, okay. So I've got a new client. Well, she's been with me for 2 weeks now. She's coming 3 times a week. She's had 3 hip replacements. She's had She's dislocated them twice. This is in the last 2 years. She's been going to a lot of different practitioners or different modalities. Anyway, after a second spinal flow session, she got off the table and she was like a little bit stunned. And I was like, "Are you all right?" She's like, "Yeah." And she's just started doing all these movements, like standing there and wiggling her hips side to side and pulling one leg up at a time, her knee to her chest, and like waiting for something to happen. And it didn't happen. She was scared that her hips were going to dislocate. She felt like someone had taken two bucketfuls of gunk from that hip area, and she felt so much lighter that she could move freely.
Mm.
And just the look on her face when she was doing this, like I was like, "What are you doing that for?" And when she said, she was just pushing the limits, I suppose, to see
Yeah,
if they were going to dislocate. But yeah, so that's been my story of the last couple of weeks, my highlight in regards to
yeah,
physical
that's amazing.
release. So yeah, it's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Mm,
And then that there are other things that can happen too, like some people get, if they're coming, whatever they're coming for, but all of a sudden they'll get a really sore neck. And I think that sort of stuff comes back to, well, sometimes the bones, the muscles, the tendons, the fluid, that is all changing. So then, your body responds with muscle soreness. I sort of liken it to, if you haven't been to the gym for a little while and you start working a bicep, then often it's going to be sore the next day. Same if you're changing what's happening in the body. Sometimes you'll get, more aches, more pain,
yeah.
sometimes more symptoms. Um,
Mm,
yeah, headaches increasing. That's a common one as well. I know for
yeah.
me, on one of our immersives when we were doing back-to-back spinal flow sessions, when I was actually one of the participants, and I had a migraine come up like out of nowhere, but then I knew why it was coming up because I had all these changes going on in my body. Another one of the symptoms a couple of my clients have experienced is a change in their blood pressure. So they've had high blood pressure, and then it's actually been done, the high low for a little bit, and then it's regulated. So that was an
Love
interesting
that.
one. And then another one was a client was like, "I can put my socks on." They hadn't been able to put their socks on without one of those helper things. This client can now put their socks on. So yeah, not a
See the
symptom.
little things that we sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, all the little things, but the little things are so important.
Mm, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. The little things can sometimes bring about the biggest changes overall.
yeah, exactly. They
Mm,
all they all add up.
yeah. Well, that's cool.
All right. So that's just a few of them that we've listed, but obviously, there are actually many, many more. But I think it's just really important that people know that when, things come up that are different, that we are actually celebrating the change. We're like, yes, something different's happening in your body. That's the innate wisdom of your body at work, and healing's happening.
Yeah. We'd be worried if nothing was happening.
Yeah, exactly.
There was no change. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you. Until the next one.
Thanks.